Someone tried to invade and most likely murder my husband and I last week. I don't know if I'll ever be able to sleep again. We live in a stupidly cute little town, typically safe with a nice affordable place we have lived close to a decade. A man with previous mental health issues directed his own apartment to make it look like a home invasion. Broke with his window with his hand and then, making sure he was out of line with the building, tried breaking our door down. When that didn't work while we were on 911, he claimed he had been shot and to let him in, and they were going to murder him. Spoiler, he most definitely had not, and evidence shows he completely destroyed his own place. We live in a small town, so when we made the police report, the officer kept trying to dissuade us from complaining as he's a good boy from a good family dealing with a bad breakup. He had a police scanner going the whole time. He waited until 12:15 to start trashing his place, as 12 p.m. is when response switches from town police, a 3-minute walk, to state police, a 20-minute drive. It wasn't until we told him we had a weapon and that the police were on their way that he spoke and said it was our neighbor and he had been shot. Not to let him die out there. 10 minutes of him body slamming outdoor and screaming to let him in. When the police arrived, he ran into his apartment, and in our mind to hide whatever he had in his hand. 30 minutes of terror. In our police report only reads that someone with past mental health crises attempted a burglary. His whole record is all covered under medical, not criminal. We have been told we can't press charges and we can't get an order of protection because he's mentally ill. When we asked the officer what else we can do, he said nothing until he actually hurt someone, so like fuck. So now I'm surrounded by boxes as we prepare to move ASAP. Sad. My cute little apartment is going to be gone, and my first Christmas since surviving cancer is being spent moving so a psychopath doesn't know where to live. Comment? Situations like this make me question the wisdom of shutting down all the state-owned mental institutions because they were violating the rights of the mentally ill. There were over 500,000 patients in mental hospitals in the 50s. There are less than 50,000 today, even though the population has more than doubled. There are definitely a lot of people who should be in residential mental health facilities today, but aren't. However, a big part of the reduction in such patients is the development of psychiatric medication. I know people complain a lot about all the drugs we give people, and with good reason. We are largely medicating the natural reaction to life under late-stage capitalism. However, for many of those with really severe mental illnesses, like schizophrenia, modern drugs are a freaking miracle. So many of these people are able to lead fulfilling, productive lives and serve as pillars of the community thanks to their meds, without which, they would have to be locked up for their safety or ours. Some kind of coincidence, wasn't it? Psychotropic drugs come out in the 60s and just about every mental hospital is shut down in the 70s. Meanwhile, the University College of London published a study last year that proved that there is no connection between depression and serotonin, but doctors are still prescribing them and hundreds of millions keep taking them. What was disguised as a revelatory step in treatment protocols was really just a more effective way to monetize mental illness. Did the local police respond or the state police? It's not clear from your story, but if he's timing his attacks so that it's the local police respond and not the state, then there's a very good chance he has a record with the state police and knows they won't tolerate his nonsense. I would go back to the state police, as they seem to be aware that there's an ongoing situation. I would also hazard a guess that they've had issues with your local police, likely ongoing. Since they were the initial respondents, I would go back to them and see what else they recommend. They may be tied in this particular situation, depending on how jurisdiction has been worked out between the two, but I would put money on there being a big fat file on the man that's harassing you, and that they may appreciate having a cooperative witness down the line. It sucks so much that you need to move, but it sounds like you are probably making the wisest and safest move for your family. I'm sorry you're going through this. Try to keep reminding yourself soon you will be in a new safe home where you won't have to worry. It's awful it's happening now, but best to get out and get safe. Story 2. I regret having my son and I wish I stayed child-free. Yes, I have a kid. No, I don't really post him. It's not a pick-me thing, or a I'm not like other moms thing. Aside from privacy reasons, I've been struggling with the fact that I'm even a mother at all. I was pretty child-free, but due to societal and, well, mostly spousal pressure, I had a child against my own wishes. It screwed me up so bad mentally. Then my divorce happened and then I became a single parent. I didn't fight for anything more than 50-50 custody. I didn't want more. A lot of shit happened I wasn't prepared for, still not. It's a burden I don't wish on anyone. It feels like you are on a leash. You can only go as far as the leash allows, but when you're at the end it retracts and it drags you back. One week I'm free and it feels like I'm getting my shit together, and then the next I'm losing my mind. Toddlers aren't easy. It's more exhausting than manual labor. You can call me a bad mother. In the grand scheme of things, I am. But what I don't do is show him my resentment. There are times I lose my temper and cry and hide away in another room. There are times I dread when my free weekends or look forward for the week of parenting to end. It sounds awful, I know. It's a slap in the face when people ask me about having more kids, or that things don't last forever. Kids grow, yes, but it doesn't negate the struggles you are currently going through. When a child that doesn't regulate their emotions well pushes the buttons of someone who also can't regulate their emotions, it's WW3. My life is also beyond children. It's an entire universe. Friends, family, relationships, career, etc. is a part of it. So is my son. He's not my universe, but a part of it. So for society to reduce me to nothing more than a single mom is insulting. I don't know why I'm posting this honestly. It's not necessarily a cry for help, maybe a place to vent and get my feelings out. I love my son like a mother would instinctively, but sometimes I look at him and feel nothing. When he cries, I get mad more than I want to nurture him. I wanted to give my ex-husband more custody and find myself, but my family threatens to disown me. I'm afraid that my presence in his life does more harm than good. Comment. 1. You're a good caregiver. By mitigating developmental damage like that, you are preparing a future someone for a good future. 2. Your family threatening to disown you? That's awful, and not okay for them, ever, and you should resent them for it. My mother kind of reminds me of you, right now where you are at. Although I wasn't pressured into being born, she's very independent, and has carved out a life beyond motherhood for sure. Fact of the matter is, for your independence, you are going to have to burn a few bridges. It will hurt, but it always gets better. And when you hurt, and when you feel like shit, like an awful person, remember them, and what they put you through, how your ex beguiled child rearing, and how your family continuously coerces you. I'm sorry you got pushed into having a child when that sounds like it wasn't necessarily your choice. I also hate that society treats mothers in particular like once they become a mom they can't be anything else except a mom, that their whole lives should only be about being a mom and nothing else. Some mothers may like that, and if they want to be the ones to say their child is their whole universe, that's fine, but not everyone feels that way. I think we need to normalize that parents are also people apart from their children. I'm sure you're not alone in how you are feeling. I feel this. I absolutely hate the toddler phase. Our nanny took her holiday this past week, so we have been 11 days without a nanny. I want to run away. I love my kids, but Jesus Christ, toddlers suck. I am looking forward to putting them in school. My first impression is you need time and space that you feel is impossible at this point. I would suggest a break from parenting, assuming your ex agrees and understands. Perhaps fill him in honestly. Presenting this idea to family is the sticker here, so maybe some sort of therapy. If not actual therapy, then tell them that's what you're doing and your therapist says you need a break. You assume your child can't pick up your resentment, but that is not so. You may be a better influence later on, but it seems that the moment you both need some peace. You need some perspective. You won't get brooding. The fact that you express these feelings means you are a good mother. There's mothers out there that wouldn't even entertain a fraction of these thoughts. You are frustrated and going through the motions of life, and your feelings are valid. I love kids and their spirits and love being an Uncle BC. I can be there, but also not have to be all the time. But hell nah, will I ever choose to be a parent after the shit I see my brother go through on a daily basis. Parenting is probably the most underappreciated and underrealized job in the world. Because there is no manual or finish line for the job. Don't listen to your family. He should be full-time with his father who loves him unconditionally. Maybe you can just see him once in a while, or never. Don't let other people tell you what to do. Let your family have the relationship if he's important to them. I can understand this. I always knew growing up I'd be child-free. I just like my own space and time too much. I didn't want the pressures and responsibilities of having another human to take care of and somehow make survive for 18 years. Well, 2 accidental pregnancies later, mixed with failed birth control, pressure from my fiancé, and too much guilt at the idea of abortions. Here I am with the ADHD-filled toddler and another one due in 1 month. I love my children and I would never want them gone, but sometimes I feel like I do things for them out of obligation. Throw in the fact that my fiancé now has a job that keeps him away 5 days a week, so I'm basically a single mother 90% of the time. So yeah, I can understand you. It doesn't make you a bad mother to feel this way. All we have to do is get through it.